I don't know what I'm doing here. If you've ever felt that way as a dad, maybe at 3 a.m., or standing in the doorway of your kid's room, or sitting in front of a teacher, or a doctor, or a cop, and felt that way, this episode's for you. The question isn't whether we can prevent chaos from touching our families. We can't. The real challenge is, what do we do when it blows down the door?
The movies and stories we love are gateways to see ourselves and God in new ways.
Every great story borrows its power from a larger story, the story that's written on our hearts and woven into the fabric of our very being.
Hello and welcome to the Men at the Movies podcast. My name is Paul McDonald and I've got a pretty special treat for you guys today. A few weeks ago, my friend Simon emailed me about this series, Adolescence, on Netflix. I had never heard of it. He had seen it, been wrecked by it, and wanted to process what it was that he's feeling as a result of this thing that he watched. So we got on a call, hit record, and what was supposed to be a 45-minute conversation turned into 2 hours of us wrestling with some of the hardest questions that fathers have to face. So a little bit about Simon. He's the host of the Restoring Authentic Men podcast, or the RAM Pod, as it's called. Every episode, he's going to draw you in with stories, with scripture, practical takeaways that relate to fatherhood, faithfulness, our internal battles, and relationships. Simon describes it as digging through the weeds of our issues and coming out restored and hopeful. I love that he says hopeful because it's so easy for us sometimes when dealing with our own crap to kind of lose hope that we'll ever find restoration. He takes the rough, messy, emotional stuff and makes it approachable and available for men who want to lead well and not just do the fake it till you make it thing. And honestly, we need a lot more of that. So the original plan was to share this on the RAM Pod. And after we got done, we felt like, hey, let's maximize the coverage. Let's share it on both our channels. And honestly, I want to do what I can do to help push people and point people towards the RAM podcast. So go check him out. He's available. The RAM podcast is available on all of the podcasting things, Spotify and Apple Pods. He's not afraid to sit with the uncomfortable stuff. He's not offering neat, tidy answers to messy problems. He's creating space for men to be honest about where they're struggling, whether that's fatherhood, their marriage, masculinity, feeling like they don't know where they're doing, and just sort of working through that together. If any of this conversation resonates with you, check out his podcast. It's the kind where you can feel not quite as alone when dealing with your own struggles, and then walk out of those more equipped to handle them with grace and with truth. And so let me tell you about why we chose Adolescence, or why it wrecked him. It's not just a crime drama. The poster, the painting, whatever the story may be, 13-year-old boy gets accused of murder, and here's what happens to him. Here's how the police handle it. Here's how the family handles it. And that might be the story, but that's not the real story beneath the story. This thing, it's a Netflix series, 4 episodes. It's got like 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. It won, a handful of Emmy Awards. So it doesn't suck. One of the really cool things they use is what's called a oneer. It's a continuous take. It is one shot from the opener to the closing credits. What that does is it really pulls you into the action. You are immersed. There's points where you forget to breathe. The pressure is so much. And you can't fast forward through those uncomfortable moments. You just have to sit with it. Just like our real lives. It's a really cool filmmaking trick that they use to bring you into the story and make you feel the weight of it. Because the story is pretty weighty. But what is Adolescence all about? On the surface, Adolescence is a crime drama. You've got a 13-year-old boy, Jamie, who's accused of killing a classmate. And you see the police at work. You see them going into the schools to find out more information. And probably the most powerfully, you see Eddie, his dad, trying to figure out what is he supposed to do. I don't know what I'm doing here, is a statement that he says in that first episode that really grabbed us, because how many times as dads do we feel that? And he's trying to figure out, did his son do it? How do I support my son? What is this? To where did I go wrong? I'm sorry for failing you, son. But what makes this series matter is the questions that it raises. One of the things critics say is it shows the fragility of modern boyhood, how boys sit in that in-between stage. Jamie has stuffed animals, little boy stuff in his room, and yet he's accused of very grown-up things. How do the boys handle that tension of feeling childish, of being a child, while also being pulled into the adult world with expectations, consequences, cultural pressures from their peer groups? And while this isn't based on a true story, it's sort of pulled from sort of a conglomeration from different headlines in the UK. So it definitely feels like this could be a docuseries. This series shines light on some of the most urgent and pressing issues that face young men today. And by facing young men, they face us, because we're the ones who are fathering or mentoring, leading those younger men. You've got the idea of toxic masculinity, online radicalization, that echo chamber that happens. What happens with an absent father? And then the fragile space that many of us get stuck in for a very long time between childhood and adulthood. What does it mean to be a man when strength is confused with anger or silence mistaken for control? How do we deal with shame and silence? And what do we do with all that? What do we do with the digital world where our kids are engaged in almost 24/7 now? And then the responsibility and accountability as fathers. Where do I need to do more? Where have I messed up? Where can I do better in the future? How do I love my kids well, even when the worst thing that they could ever share is being shared? It's about how young men are being shaped by forces that we don't even know exist. What's called the manosphere. Online radicalization, where their men and masculinity is caricatured and is stereotypical. And it's appealing because it says, this is real. We're just being real. It's about these algorithmic echo chambers that exist in the social world today that can take a lonely, insecure kid like Jamie and feed him some Andrew Tate videos until he believes that women are the enemy. It's unsettling. It's uncomfortable, but that's exactly why it matters. And while obviously it's won a lot of awards, it's highly thought of, others criticize it because it doesn't offer a solution. There's no real resolution to this story. And for a story nerd like me, that actually kind of makes the point, because we don't really have a resolution in our real life. So what are we going to do with that? It doesn't solve the problem. And so it forces the viewers, the watchers, the us of this experience to say, okay, this is what's going on. What am I going to do about it? And so that's how Simon and I start wrestling with these questions. What happens when chaos hits our homes? Where have we avoided tough conversations that are needed? And how do we affirm and guide our sons and our daughters through this turbulent time of growing up? Eddie, who's the father in this series, played by Stephen Graham, he's not absent. He's not abusive. He's a dad trying to do his best, like so many of us. And we don't know what we're doing. We don't know how we're doing. And he allows that shame to create a gap between him and Jamie that widens over the course of this episode as he, and then at the end with the scene that wrecks both of us, where he breaks down and says, I'm sorry, I didn't do enough. Because if I had done better as a dad, you wouldn't have ended up where you were. But that's the story for next episode. And so what we're going to dig in today is not the crime, not the sensational stuff, but those moments that every father recognizes when you realize that your son is struggling and you don't know what to do. When you're trying to protect him, but he reads it as shame. When chaos blows down your doors and all the parenting books and strategies and advice all go out the window with, what are you going to do now? So we're splitting this conversation into 2 episodes. Part 1's today, we're talking about presence, this idea of control. what it means to be a father when you don't know what you're doing. And part 2 will continue that conversation and actually leads to that scene that I said that kind of broke both me and Simon. Just a heads up, this is an MA, mature audience series. The clips that we have are heavy. They deal with heavy topics. The language is rough. This is not a show, and this is not a show to watch with your 13-year-old. Maybe your wife. Maybe your guy group. Sit down and watch it. Pause it when these moments come up and say, whoa, what just happened? As I said, this is for us. Fathers, men, leaders, guys who want to figure out how to raise boys into authentic men. And so that's why it's a perfect fit for the Ram podcast. And I think it's a perfect fit for us. So coming up, here is my conversation with Simon from the Ram podcast about Adolescence.
It had a massive impact on me. And well, let me just say, yeah, it's certainly it's a series that is for adults. It's not for your kids because it's related to your children. So it's a very, very personal thing, I think, isn't it, Paul? It's not a true story, obviously, but the way
But it could be.
it could be exactly right. And it's one of those series that what you were saying to me before off air, it's very, very immersive. So it's, I guess you could say it's real time in the sense of it captures you straight away in each moment what happens to this particular boy. And speaking of that, Paul, give us a bit of a bit of a snapshot for yourself what the series is about and just your initial reaction, I suppose, to the series in a couple of minutes.
The story of the series is one thing, but I think what it's about is so much deeper and more and richer. Because the story is this young man, this 13-year-old kid gets arrested for the murder of one of his classmates. And the series goes through over the next, over the 4 episodes of that process, both within a family, of how does the family respond? How did the police respond? And you're sitting there, did he do it? Did he not? Why did he do it? And the impact until the last episode, which is months after the arrest, where they're trying to get on with life and struggling with that and wondering, as every dad does, could I have done this better? That scene that I know we're going to talk about.
Yes,
that wrecks us both.
Yeah,
is a scene that we've all felt to one degree or another.
Yeah. It's quite incredible actually how much reality is put into this series, and as we'll see, it's serious to the point where, like you're saying, Paul, you are put myself in a position of what if, like you were saying, what if this happened to my son? What happens if my son committed these crimes? What would be my reaction?
Right. And that's that story beyond the story where it's about cyberbullying. It's about toxic masculinity. It's about what does it even mean to be a man in this world? And in a lot of ways, the gap that we are experiencing of showing these young men as they go through adolescence and wrestle with what it means to be an authentic man.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not getting in the school systems, right? We saw that in that episode.
Yeah. Won't give it away. Yeah. Yes.
The question that we see them struggling with is, what does it mean to be a man, and how easy it is to take that down a bad path.
Yeah.
The consequences, not just for this kid, but for the entire family.
Yes. It's what we're going to see, obviously. It's the ripple effects. So what's happening to Jamie, which is the main character's name, and to Eddie, the dad. So what we'll do is we're going to play the first clip. I pulled the raid. So it's basically the very start of this particular story. Police, obviously, they are bashing down the doors. So let's play that clip now, and we'll get your reaction in a moment.
Oh, police, suspect found! Show me your hands! Get your hands in the air! Get your hands in the fucking air so I can see him now! Hey,
My name is D.I. Bascom. I have a warrant to search your premises, sir. Where's your son? Where's your son?
He's in his bedroom! What do you need me for?
Where is he?
Mom! Hey, he's on your head, mate! He's got the wrong house!
Okay.
Hey!
Jamie Miller.
What's going on?
The time is 6:15 a.m. and I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder.
What do you mean?
You do not have to say anything. But Mr. Miller, I will arrest you for obstruction. Please stop. Please.
What do you need me for?
I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defense if you do not mention one
Dad, I
question,
haven't done
something
anything.
which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence.
Dad,
do you understand?
I haven't done anything.
Do you
Dad.
understand?
Son,
Do you understand?
just tell him you understand, Jay.
All right, I understand.
Okay, good. Get up slowly, please. You got anything in your pockets that may harm me or you?
No.
Okay. You want to change your trousers? Yeah. You want to get your dad?
Yes, please.
Don't move. Stand down, please. Stand down.
Stand down.
Mr. Miller, you need to come upstairs. He's had an accident.
Hey?
You need to help him, please. Thank you.
You're okay, love.
Coming through.
Jay? Quick as you can.
Is this the parents' room?
Yeah. There, Mr. Miller. Quick, please.
Mate, yeah.
Thank you. How we doing? Are we good?
Yeah.
Let's go. Don't need your trainers. I've got slippers for you downstairs. We'll get you in the van. Come.
Can I come with you?
You're just going to have to wait until we leave, Mr. Miller. You can follow after.
Go and get your mum. You're okay? Go and get your mum. Excuse me, love. What are you doing?
Those on for me, mate.
I'm searching for evidence.
What? That's our dirty washing. There's nothing in there, love. There's nothing in there, I'm telling you. Right.
That's fine.
Yeah, right, Mrs. Miller. Mrs. Miller. No, you can't go out there. What are you wrecking me house? What are you looking for? Just let me know what you're looking for. Yeah? For fuck's sake. Please, Ian, what's going on? Stop it. Oh, come here.
Listen to me, I'm explaining to your wife, your son, he's been arrested on suspicion of murder, right?
He couldn't.
Take him to the station for questioning. You can follow us there, it's on Harewood Street. Do you know where that is?
Of course I do. Yeah, it's round the corner.
You might be entitled to compensation for any mess that we've caused you today. Fill
What do
this
you
in
mean?
and get it
Because
back
you
to us.
bashed the bleeding door in, love.
Why do you need guns for a 13-year-old? He's 13. Do you understand what I've said to you, Bob?
Of course. Do you understand what we're telling you, love? There's no way he's done
see you
this.
there.
Look, he's had guns in his face and everything. I hope he's happy with yourselves. He's done nothing. He's a kid. Jay, it's all right, lad. Don't worry, son. Jay, me and your mum are going to follow, okay? Jay, don't say nothing, okay? Jay,
Let's go.
You'll be okay, son. You'll be okay.
Come on.
Dad! Dad!
Yeah. I feel I was so vulnerable at that part. Like the feeling of helplessness, I think initially my initial thoughts, I looked at my own son. He's not quite 13 years old, but just that reality of you don't have any control of what just happened there. You know, my heart was racing actually watching that the first time. I thought I was panicking. I was completely, tears were running down my eyes because I want to rescue my son. And, you know, they couldn't clearly. The police van pulls up, he's shoved in. Jamie's confused. His dad is just beside himself, and just the whole chaos of what happened. Absolute chaos. That's the first word I thought. What do you think, Paul?
Chaos is the right word. And, you know, for my children now, my youngest is 19, my oldest is 31. And my experience with my own children is that it's not, we've never had police barge in our door, but you've had chaos enter your story on behalf of your kids, because they they did something you don't know about. And so I related to that. It just like the first time you watch it, you're like, what's going on? Who are they after? What are they looking for? This little kid who's so scared he peed his pants.
Yep.
Which I thought one of the things that caught me was the kindness of the detective there to say, let's change your pants, son, because had a bit of an accident. Which I was like, what a terrible word to use with dad. It's like, we've had a bit of an accident. It's like, wait, what has happened? What a relief to see. Oh, it's just that. But for a 13-year-old boy to be that scared that this is happening, that he wet his pants, it was just such a well crafted moment that just draws you in. You're just like, what is happening? Murder? This kid who's like still got this, all the markers of his room of a little boy's bedroom, being accused of a very grown up thing.
Yeah. Yep. And his reality shot now, obviously we're spoiling everything, obviously, in this series, what's going to happen. But the look of shock on the boy's face to say, oh, what is happening? And I think, like you're saying, the police detective, as we'll find out later on, he has his own children. And I think for him, the reality of maybe potentially seeing his own son being put in that position, that brought out his own empathy. Yes, I've got a job to do, but I understand what's happening in this moment, and this is terrible for you. Yeah, it's very, very powerful.
And again, we're talking about a TV series that's pretty recent, so we are going to be spoiling it. So if you care about that, don't listen anymore.
Thank you. That was going to be my disclaimer.
When they go to the police station, I was again just struck with the kindness of the police officers.
Yeah.
You've got a young man accused of a horrible crime.
Yep.
And yet they're still being very tender to him in that chaos as his world is being upended, overturned, and all this. It's like, I just thought that was really, it was again, really from a writer's, filmmaker's standpoint, I was like, man, that was really well done, because it softens your heart to Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely. That was actually my
kindness being extended to him.
Yeah, that was my thoughts too, Paul. We're not showing that part of the clip, but the humanity of the police, I thought that was absolutely brilliant. They're basically saying to us, we're just as flawed and as human as you are. We actually do have feelings, whether he committed the crime or not. And I mean, even one of the ladies, police officer, was saying, I hate juvenile cases. And she didn't say it out of malice. She said, you could see it in her eyes. It was sort of, she said, these cases are hard, and I'm just, it's really, really hard on all of us, not just the accuser, on us as police, trying to be as sensitive as possible, because there's no guilty or not guilty at the moment. They're in between this mess.
Yeah. Yeah, navigating that chaos with both kindness and justice, right?
Yeah, what a balance.
You have a job to do, but you want to be sensitive to their hearts and the family's hearts. Even, the other detective there, she's like, you may be entitled to compensation if we went over the top.
Yep.
And, it appears as if they did, but then at the same time, if you step back and look at just the strict facts of somebody's accused of a brutal murder, well, you've got to go in with force, because you don't know what you're going to be looking at on the other side. Yeah. Even if what they end up looking at is a scared 13-year-old boy.
Yeah. And the last part I remember from it, when they shut the door on the police cell and Jamie was screaming, and, I can't remember exactly what he said. I think he was calling out for his dad or someone. Again, that reality of he is in that mess real time, and there's no one there at the moment, there's no one there to actually, save him. And the police, like you say, they have a job to do, and it's not easy on them seeing that, or seeing and hearing it as well. I think as a police officer, that would be interesting to get a police's point of view on actually what juvenile cases are like. I can only imagine, really.
I don't even want to imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to touch on one other thing you mentioned, that idea of control, right? When our kids are young, we have this false sense of control.
Yep.
And I say false sense of control because I realize as my children have grown up and are growing up into different things, how little control I actually have. But even before, of how little control I had, and it doesn't matter how much oversight, how many guardrails you put on, like stuff can just happen that doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Especially if you sort of don't have the framework of you have an enemy and the God who loves us, and walking in that of, allowing God to be the one in control and not trying to be God in our own right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll tear yourself apart just like this dad does throughout this series.
Yes. And the next clip, I think, literally touches on that, Paul. This is a scene where he's speaking with his solicitor in regards to Jamie's case, and his feeling of helplessness and his feeling of being out of control. And I'll get your thoughts after this next clip.
I haven't done anything wrong.
Well, that makes it easy then, doesn't it? Right, I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to see how they're getting on setting up for this interview. If you could sit tight, try to be patient for me. I'll be back for you. All right?
Just wait a minute, lad. Just give me a sec. Excuse me, mate.
Yeah.
I haven't got a clue what I'm doing here. I don't. What do I say?
Just don't answer for him. All right? Just be yourself. They know you're his dad. We know you're his dad. It's okay to process. It's okay to be shocked, and it's okay to be human.
Right? Yeah, I mean this isn't normal. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Never even been in a police station before.
You'll be fine.
I just don't want to get it wrong for me lad. You know what I mean?
You'll be fine.
I'm shitting myself. He's a good kid, yeah, and I'm a good dad. Do you know what I mean? He really is. Look, you said yourself. You even said he was bright. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I did.
So, do you understand?
I can see that, but here we are now, and we've this to deal with, okay? And I think the police have some pretty compelling evidence. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to ask for blood. They wouldn't have been able to make the entrance that they did. Now, I don't know what that evidence is, but I'm pretty sure it's going to become clear to us very soon, okay? So, the best thing for you to do is to raise that chin up, be the good dad, and suck it up, okay?
Yeah.
They're shaping up for the interview. I need a minute just to have a look through everything. Can you sit with him? You all right doing that? I'll be back for you shortly.
Okay. Be all right.
You'll be fine.
Okay.
All right.
Ta.
The feeling of helplessness again, the sense of confusion. He doesn't know what to do, and I saw him as a father come back to a little boy. He was a little boy again. He was asking someone, please help me. I don't know what to do. Like you were saying, Paul, totally out of control of the situation. He wants to know how to help his boy. And the solicitor's saying, he's giving him a little bit of reassurance. You are a good dad. You're doing the right thing right now. I know you want to get out of this situation, but here it is. Mm-hmm. And when he said suck it up, I think, again, when you see the visuals, he wasn't saying that in an arrogant way. He was just saying, here we are in this moment. I've got you, but I need you to be the father for your son in this moment. And yeah, he literally does suck it up. He's crying. I cried at that moment. I was totally wrecked. And yeah, it's like, please help me out of this situation. And I think the other thought I had as well is we're trying to have it all together as fathers. And I saw myself as that father trying to have it all together for my son who's in the other room. In the meantime, I'm a wreck. How do I cope with that? Yeah.
Right.
How do I cope with that? I tell you what, when I watched that the first time, I didn't cope at all. I'm like, I'm a crap dad. I am not a good dad. If that's going to be my reaction to my son doing, pray to God that never happens to my son. But again, that's just the reality of whatever happens. Having it all together. I guess the question, Paul, is it okay to have it all together in that moment? For me personally, probably
What a
not
great
a good
question.
idea. Yeah, but anyway, your thoughts.
So it's interesting, talking about masculinity and what it means and what we're seeing as both fathers and sons in this series. So my brother, we are going through grief with the loss of one of my best friends from college, died earlier this year.
Yeah.
And grief is funny. It sneaks up. It'll hit you over the head out of nowhere. But my brother said something, we had gone after my friend had gotten his cancer diagnosis. We all went down there. We went to church together. And in church, just, I don't know what it is about being in church and worshiping. It just opens up my heart. And like Father sees everything that I am. And I just cry because I feel so seen and just trying to give him all the stuff, all the hurt that I'm carrying.
Yeah.
And my brother said, when we got together and we cried like little girls. And that's a phrase, we use. And I'm thinking, I don't like that one because it diminishes that sense of what he said is it's okay to process. Yeah. It's okay to be human. And the other night I got hit with, I don't know how we're going on a trip with all of our college friends to sort of get together, and we're going to Kentucky and doing some bourbon stuff. And so it's a fun trip, but we had taken this 4 years ago when my friend was still with us. And all of a sudden I'm making dinner. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to be there with these guys without my best friend there. Mm-hmm. And I just start crying in the kitchen. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, you need to suck it up. I think as you mentioned, he wasn't saying suck it up in an unkind way, but a very British way. Keep calm and carry on, right?
Yeah.
And to just sit in that moment and allow myself to grieve my friend not being there. And to give myself permission to not have it all together. Mm. And because there are moments that are going to be hard. You want to believe the best in your kids. I don't know what I'm doing here. And how many times, just a couple weeks ago with my daughter who lives with us with her son, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. And it wasn't anything monumental or colossal, but you're like, did I screw up? Because your work ethic isn't what I'd hope it would be. You're not doing this, you're not doing that. How have I screwed up? I should have done a better job as your dad, is what I'm saying. And I'm reacting out of that pain. But in the moment, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure out what to do. Chaos has entered and invaded our lives. I am on the brink. And I think for our kids, I think it is important to see that we don't always have it all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay because we're human.
Yeah.
And to say, especially when we interact with our kids in a way that we regret, is to say, hey, that's not who I really want to be. I'm sorry. Will you forgive me?
Yeah. Wow.
It's okay to be human as dads.
And how many times, like you were saying, we've done that and we don't want to show that vulnerable side to our, to our children. I mean, I can think of many, many examples with my son that, my temper got the better of me, and my initial reaction, thank goodness, I was working through a lot of stuff. My initial reaction was, I have to apologize soon because that part of me I don't want reflected on my own son, and we will dive into actually part of that. Yeah, in one of the clips we'll play later on, it just touched on, how, I'm just trying to think of the right word. Yeah, how vulnerable our sense of emotion can be in the moment, and what our reaction is going to be to our children, how we're going to react when daddy's feeling sad or daddy's not in a good place. So daddy, me, how am I going to respond to my son when I'm feeling those feelings? Am I going to shove it under, like you're saying? Do we just shove it under and put on that persona, that smile of like, I'm okay, don't you worry, son? Or are we going to say, yeah, I'm actually struggling. Sorry, I reacted like that. Forgiveness, massive word. Sometimes I think as dads, that's a real hard pill to swallow. I think as fathers, like, we need to have that vulnerability. And that's not being, unmasculine at all. It's more just saying to your son, I want to be honest with you. My reality ain't good, but I apologise for inflicting that part on you, which you don't understand yet. Obviously, you put in your own words for your own children to understand. But wow, Paul, I just
So I did respond to my brother, and I said, I cry like a man.
yeah.
I big ugly cry.
Yep.
And it's interesting you're talking about that. And I'm thinking, how often anger is okay to express as a man, but sadness is looked down on as weak.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, no, I experience the full gamut of emotions. I'll be happy and like act like a crazy little kid because just some joy bomb enters in.
Yeah.
And I'll be sad and I'll be angry and I'll be impatient and I experience the full spectrum of emotions. And that's what it means to be human.
It does, doesn't
that's
it?
Okay, right?
Yeah, it is okay. But and I suppose all family dynamics are different, aren't they?
Right.
Your brothers or your family, if they understand that's how you react and that's very cathartic for you, I think I got that right word, cathartic. That's a healthy thing. And I think that's where, I suppose, if you have a family that embraces that actually helps you. If you've never had that in your life, I suppose that's another topic altogether, isn't it? It's letting out those emotions in a healthy way, which is actually, it's physically good for you as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's what I'm trying to say to all of our listeners, all the guys. You letting out healthy emotions, that you're sad, that you're frustrated, and it could come out in tears, it might come out in a real bizarre way or not a nice way. The whole idea of bottling things up, detrimentally, physically it hurts, mentally it wrecks you for potentially a long-term period, and again, the ripple effects on obviously yourself and the rest of your family is just it's a basket case, yes, when you bottle it up.
Right. And that's the thing, I've realized over the couple of years with dealing with my friend and his cancer is grief will be processed.
Yeah.
It's going to come through. And it's how I let it come through. Will I bottle it up until it just explodes and erupts?
Yes.
Or will I, when it hits, just let it kind of flow through me? And, there's so much shame that we feel with our emotions. I think especially for a lot of men, because we think we're not supposed to be emotional or expressive. And that it's interesting because when we inject shame and guilt over a feeling, we amplify it.
Yeah.
We're going to feel more of what we don't want to feel. And no, I don't believe, this is my theology here.
Yeah.
I don't believe that the emotions are sins. In your anger, do not sin, right? What I do with the emotion, Jamie had emotions that he couldn't handle, as we'll find out more through this. But those were really valid feelings that he had because he went through some really horrible stuff. in school.
Yeah.
Where he took them was a terrible place. And just like we can take our emotions to a terrible place that alienate our families, our kids, our brothers, our sisters, our wives, if we don't learn how to sort of let that torrent, that overflowing emotion sort of, instead of trying to fight it, just let it flow through without judgment, without condemnation, and then inviting Jesus into the whole thing.
Yeah. And speaking of that, Paul, there's a very, very short clip I'm going to play now. It's basically the end of episode 1. And this particular one, I think it's the act of selflessness. So I'll just play that clip now and I'll just get your thoughts.
What have you done? What have you done? Why?
It wasn't me. I've not done anything.
That embrace at the end for me and broke me. Yeah. It broke me again because you just said the word before, Paul, forgiveness. I still love you and I'm still going to embrace you no matter what. And I think that's a Jesus trait. No matter what people did to him and no matter what he saw in the world, he still embraced them and he still said, I love you. I still care about you. And then that's what I saw right there in those 30 seconds. It was Dad saying, if you committed the murder, I'm still going to love you regardless. I'm not going to disown you. I'm not going to abandon you. I'm there for you no matter what. And obviously, it's an emotion, it's a feeling, isn't it? He said, why? Why, Jamie? And embracing his son, still saying, I love you, but I'm confused. That's okay too, but wow, knowing that you're still loved regardless of what has happened. That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, because that scene, they had just watched the video of what Jamie had done.
Yep.
And his first response was, the dad's first response was, don't touch me. Because he can't come to grips with, this is his little boy. This is my son. How can these two things be true? How can these two people exist? But Alan Arnold has this saying where it says, it's something, I'll probably butcher it, but that religion says, I've messed up. I'm scared to tell my dad. Whereas the relationship that we have is, I messed up. I need to go to dad. And that's what you see. The kid is like, Dad, like, I need you in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the dad was able to put aside his horror and his grief and say, I love you, son. We'll get through this.
The interesting thing about this series is it reflects on two sides. And we touched on, obviously, at the start, the police detective, and he has children of his own and his own son. And, this next one, episode 2, if you like, of this, the detective obviously has to investigate the case. And, he has to enter the classroom where his son is. And this is an interesting one for me. And I will get your thoughts on this one, Paul. But it certainly brought out a lot of emotions for me. So we'll check out this clip with the police detective walking into his own son's classroom, and obviously, the ramifications of that.
Hello, Mr. Curtis. Would it be all right if we come in? The police would like to talk to the kids.
Mr. Curtis, how you doing? You all right? You all right?
Hi.
Yes, Frank. You all right? Everything okay?
Yeah, I just want to have a quick word with the kids, yeah?
Okay, so this is D.I. Bascom and D.S. Frank from Haywood Street Police Station. They'd like to talk to you about what happened to Katie. Now, they're here because they care about this school. And as many of you know, D.I. Bascom is also Adam's dad.
Adam.
All right, that's enough. I said stop that, Fredo. I said stop that! See me after class. I'm sorry, that's unacceptable.
Sorry.
Have some respect.
It's short, but my fuse when I watched that was like very short. And that's part of my past. So I was teased a lot when I was at school. And I imagine for the detective when he came in, and I think it may be a bit of a background as well, Paul, like you've seen the series, obviously you understand. He told his son that he was going to visit the classroom. And so his son was well aware, obviously, of his father coming in and wanting to potentially ask questions if anyone had any questions about what actually happened. But I think that short clip for me, my fuse was short. I wanted to deck that student quite literally.
Right.
Fair income. I wanted to flip the table on him and I'm like, don't you dare speak
100%.
It brought out the whole bad male everything, testosterone. I just wanted to flog him. But apologies to all the listeners, but that's exactly how I felt at the moment. Because again, I think the idea of, and when it affects your past as well, in my case, being teased, I can imagine for myself anyway, I'd hate it if my own son got teased in front of me, and that vulnerability of you, the dad, being in that classroom, and you really can't do much at all because the teacher's in control. I loved it. And that, again, was a relief to me for the teacher just pounding these other students, yelling and saying, "You stop that. That's inappropriate." See me after class. I'm like, good on you. I would have decked him at the same time, but that's beside the point. We're using this word again, Paul, being out of control. And I think the police detective doesn't have any control over the situation. And his son, got teased, and he maintained his composure. I didn't maintain mine. Your thoughts, Paul? That was way too long.
Well, yeah, man, it's so it's such an interesting thing because we had seen earlier in the episode how he had been, even like walking up the stairs or something, somebody had said something, they were messing with him. He was obviously somebody who experienced bullying to a pretty high level. And throughout that whole episode in the school, it was almost like the incompetence of the teachers.
Yeah.
It's like, he's interjecting, "Hey, you're going to stop that. You're going to stop that." But how effective is that in controlling that? What we would say is that toxic masculine behavior. We don't want people to act like that. How can we? And that becomes, I think, our billion-dollar question as men to ask is, we don't want to be a doormat and just let people abuse us. That doesn't feel authentic.
No.
What does it mean to stand up to bullying? And I fall back on the sheepdog and wolves. Like, if we're all sheep, the wolves are going to have a heyday.
Yeah.
We need sheepdogs to stand up to the wolves. And if we label the wolves as the one who display signs of toxic masculinity, who act all the ways that you want to assume that masculinity is labeled as bad these days.
Yeah.
We need men, strong men of integrity, to stand up to those wolves in a way that's going to shut him down.
Yes.
Because we see that not just with that teacher, but with like every teacher the students are running the asylum.
Yeah, and that's sad. I mean, my wife's a school teacher, and she sees
100%. It's so
time and time
sad.
again.
It's devastating. I'm like, how in the world do kids survive in this in this environment
in the system?
today?
And it doesn't matter where you live around the world. You get that attitude of I'm in control. You're not in control, teacher. I'm in control, and that's really sad. That's a side issue altogether. I think.
I like the leader that has to remind everybody who's in charge. And
yeah,
reminding me who's in charge. It's not you.
yeah, and I think that's why I appreciated this teacher. He just laid it down straight away. You know, I'm gonna really speak to you after class.
Yeah,
and that made me feel good anyway. Myself, but I mean, yeah, we might be just going down another rabbit hole. But I think again, Paul, doesn't it? It brings out, and again, if it affects you from your past, or in this case, from my past, it just touches on emotions of, when my dad's not there, and then, like you were saying, his son was getting teased a lot at school. When his dad's not there, those bullies are having a feast, and they're having a feast on this poor kid, and it's wrecking, and there is no rescuer at the time. Yeah,
no, it's hard, and to realize, my grandson just started kindergarten like this week. And he was scared because he has some speech challenges, so he doesn't speak very clearly.
Yep.
To the point, like, he knows it. So he's uncomfortable in new situations because he's afraid that they won't understand him. Like we've been at the playground and he's like, "Papa, tell him my name." Because I'm safe, because I understand him, and we have the history and foundation.
Yes.
But he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to expose his weaknesses or flaws, is probably how he feels. Like, oh, these other people can talk, but nobody seems to understand me when I say these words or say this thing. And so he was very nervous, I think, mostly because of this new situation. Who's in there to protect me, as you were saying?
Yeah.
And this is a 5-year-old little boy. And it gets worse, middle school and high school, and this, as your kids get older, the stakes get higher.
Isn't it interesting? Even you're saying, even at that age, Paul, a 5-year-old, and you're part of that family, seeing that he already at 5 years old recognizes, I don't feel, in inverted commas, normal. And,
right. I
need your help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of helplessness is, like you were just saying, like knowing, like the police who's in there seeing somebody messing with his son because of him, they're snorting like a pig because cops are pigs.
Yeah.
And like the dad, how do you, as a dad, seeing your son mocked because of who you are, and how do you, like, if he intervenes, he's just going to make it worse when he walks away. And what do you do? Go, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to screw up, and I really don't want to screw this up.
Yeah, that's right. This next one, Paul, this is beautiful. It actually touches on what kids should be. It talks about affirmation. It's a very, very short clip, and I think it's just a really brilliant one to just briefly comment on it.
Just come here, just have a minute here. Just get our head around this. Hey, do you know there'll be some good teachers in here and some good students? My school was a bit like this.
Well, how did you survive then?
Because I had a good teacher. I had Mrs. Benton, who was fucking class. She taught art and photography. I like drawing pictures and stuff.
Nice.
All kids really need is one thing that makes them feel okay about themselves, mate. That's it.
Yeah, I think that says it all, doesn't it? And we're not just talking about teachers, obviously. Everyone needs a little bit of belief, or in this case, if we go back to the teachers, the whole idea is someone that believes in them, someone that believes they're worth something. And even to those bullies, who are teasing that boy, they do need encouragement and affirmation from someone. Ideally, if we're talking about, masculinity, from their dads, ideally would be the ideal scenario. But I suspect, and this is just a general, it happens to many, many people. If we're not getting that affirmation and encouragement, it's going to come out in another way. And I think she's dead on. I mean, I had one particular teacher myself when I was little who really believed in me and encouraged me to pursue whatever I wanted to pursue. And it wasn't this was over a year or so. She could see the potential in me. And it speaks volumes, doesn't it, Paul? It speaks volumes of the idea of one thing. It could be this one little moment that a parent or a friend or a teacher said to you, you can do this, you're okay who you are, go for it, or one of many, many words. So, yeah, what's your thoughts, Paul?
I've seen it so much with working with men and especially with their dads. If they don't get validation from their dads, they will go search. They're going to get it from women. They're going to get it from work. They're going to get it from athletics. Where is it that feeds that sense of accomplishment and pride and belonging?
Yeah.
And the sad part is, even if you get it from your dad, that doesn't insulate you from the rest of the world.
No.
It just sort of, it moves you up maybe you're not as hungry for it. Maybe you're not as seeking it. Because even in a world that we live in, you can easily say, well, that he's my dad. He's supposed to say that. He has to say that. It's like in the contract for being a dad.
Yeah.
And so you diminish what your dad's saying about you. And so that exterior person becomes that much more important to just speak life over somebody.
Yes.
Like she was saying about her art teacher, and how important that is for somebody outside the family circle to validate, to see something in her. And how much Jamie may have responded if somebody had seen something in him and spoke to that, called that out, to say, no, that's it, in some ways maybe reined him back in from the path that he ended up choosing to follow.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's the whole what if scenario in this case. What Jamie is going through at the moment, who knows? Maybe it was a certain few words he needed not to do what he was not meant to do. This last clip, Paul, this touches on one more time the detective and Ryan, which is his son. Just the idea of spending quality time with his son and the nuances over that. So we'll just play that clip and we'll get a brief comment.
Look, I'm hungry, right? And I was gonna go and get some chips and a can of Coke. I wanted to know if you wanted to come.
You've got your case?
Yes, I know I've got my case. All right, it's nearly done now. I'm about to hand it over. I've got some free time. I want to spend it with you because I love you. All right?
Yeah, I can be hungry.
It's good. Thank you. Come on, get in the car. Look, put your bag in the back and put your seatbelt on, please. So come on then, how was school? What lessons did you have?
Math, chemistry, and French.
Francais? You speak French, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, go on then.
Je m'appelle, et comment ça va bien? Bon, s'il vous plaît.
All right, stop. That's enough. That is enough. You're destroying the language. So where do you want to go for? Chips?
The Chinese place on Chapel Hill.
Why would we go to a Chinese for chips, Adam?
Listen, it's the best. The salt and pepper chips, the barbecue sauce, maybe even a bit of mayo.
All right, it better be.
Inside the burger.
It better be. Better be good.
that idea. You've got your case. I have work to do. I've got some free time, and I want to spend it with you because I love you.
Yeah.
And man, because he just got exposed to all the shit that his kids are going through.
Yes.
And listening to what his partner had said is it just took one person. It's like, you know what? I do have all this work to do, paperwork. And I could, and we all do. Our to-do list is never to done.
Yeah.
It is always growing.
Unfortunately, yes.
Say, you know what? I have some time. They don't need to know that you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I have some free time. I want to choose it with you. But that other, like, and especially at that age, you know, it looks like he's like 16 maybe.
Yeah.
You know, when they're younger, you're like, okay, we're going to go do this. And they're like, yay. When they're older, to say, I was thinking chips and a Coke. Where do you want to go? He's like, why are we going to a Chinese place for chips? He's like, oh man, they're the best. And this is like, oh, they better be. But to like invite him to participate on that little adventure.
Yeah.
Saw how that brought his son to life in that scenario. And the acting in this, like you use the word immersive, the way they did the shots and stuff, but the acting is so compelling and so good.
It's very natural, isn't it?
Yes, natural. It feels like you're watching a family through this whole thing.
And I think that as well, Paul. Obviously, we didn't show that clip, but there's a lot of questioning from the father because his son had a lot of key visuals from Instagram as far as about the murder and his ideas on that. And the father was he wasn't shutting him down straight away, but he didn't understand, and the son took offense to that. And I think one of the words, I'm just trying to remember the words, you might be able to help me out, Paul, maybe. He says, you never call me son. And that's not a thing his father does. And his father was taken back for a couple of seconds, and it's like, right.
Well, in that moment, wasn't the son being like, you're just doing this because you want information out of me.
Yeah.
You're not calling me son because you, like, in I think you'd seen him interacting even maybe with Jamie, calling him son.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
like,
good point.
Son wasn't a thing that he experienced. But like, oh, you're just calling me son because you want something from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think as we talked about earlier with that idea of forgiveness of he didn't, the detective didn't say it. He didn't say, I'm sorry. He's like, look, I got free time. I want to spend it with you. Let's go get some chips.
Yeah. Yeah. It was almost like he was making up for it, or probably more the point in his mind. He says, I need to do this. You know, this is, and like you were saying, he took a moment out of his day intentionally. I'm not trying to crowd you, Ryan. I just want to spend a few moments with you. I'm not going to take you home. You do the bus. I'm not going to crowd you, because obviously he's at that age where he doesn't want to be crowded by his dad, particularly because his dad's a cop. Yeah. And I just love that. And I think for me personally, it comes back for me, that quality time with my boys, it doesn't have to be an event. It just can be as simple as, in this case, going out for fish and chips, or, with my boys, going to a game shop, and they just want to be with their dad looking at the things at the store. And it can be very, very simple. And I think as dads, we love to complicate it, or we love to say, oh, we're going to go on a big trip. We're going
to make it epic.
We're going to try to make it epic. It's going to be 8 hours of awesomeness. And maybe our boys have said, yeah, that's great, but we just want to just break it down really, really simple for you, Dad. They won't say it, but and actually, funny enough, my son can do that sometimes. He says, Dad, I just want to play games. I just want to read at home. Just be there. Yeah. And I take a step back for myself and like, right, you don't want to complicate it. Daddy's just trying to make an event when you just want a simple moment. So that was good reality for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a moment earlier this week where I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm I'm working on these projects, and my grandson comes back, and I think his mom had taken him out somewhere, and so he's like, "Hey, Papa, blah blah blah." He wants to do something. I'm like, you know what? My act of defiance towards my to-do list is this isn't. He's not always going to be here living with me. He's not always going to be 5.
Yeah. Yes.
I can spend, and I don't have to spend 25 minutes, building Legos or playing Nerf guns or even shooting basketball. But he's so happy if I just give him 10 minutes. It's like, all right, dude, I'll give you 10 minutes. And just those 10 minutes of undivided attention and saying, look, my 10 minutes is up. I got to get back to work. But then what that does is so many times we say maybe later. But what that teaches is later never actually comes. So they don't trust you.
Yes.
But if you say, okay, I can give you 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Then, in a couple hours, I can give you another 10 minutes because I need to get it something to drink. I get hungry.
Yeah. Yep.
And I can give you time. It's going to be a small bit, but to actually then show up when you say you did.
Yeah, that's the word. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Keeping your promises no matter how much the time is. And look, we, like you say, we fail a lot of the time at it, but I think that's a key for our boys or our girls, if we've got girls as well, making the time and committing to it as well. Yeah, we have emergencies in our lives, but gee whiz, I think most of our children want the stability, don't they, of saying, Dad's going to spend a bit of time with me, and it's short or long or whatever it is, and he's committed to it, and that's really important. Yeah.
Because kids will always want more than you have. You can spend an hour with them and they'll be like, oh, come on, you got to go. It's like, dude, I just did this monotonous, repetitive thing for an hour.
But you don't say that, do you, Paul?
No, I certainly feel it, though. It's like, oh, my God, over and over.
Yeah.
That's how kids learn, the repetition. But, it doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes or 5 hours. The kids will always want more of you. But it's, can you give them what you can?
That's exactly right. That's right. Yeah.
All right. Breathe. That's been a lot. We started this episode and its title with a quote, I don't know what I'm doing here. And to me, that was such a powerful line of not just for Jamie and all of our adolescent sons stuck between boyhood and manhood, saying, I don't know what I'm doing here. Needing someone to guide them, needing someone to connect with them and not knowing how, not knowing who. I don't know what I'm doing here. You've got that with Eddie. He's the one who actually says it. And how his dads were like, I don't know what I'm doing here, whether it's a dad of a 5-year-old, 13-year-old, 18-year-old, however old your kids are, you never really know what you're doing here because you've never been there before. And then that third sort of interpretation of that line is the one none of us really want to be in, but one that all of us will be in. Whether you're sitting next to a bed in the hospital, whether you're going up to the police station to bail them out of jail, whether you're standing in the driveway, watching them leave and wondering when they're going to come back. That moment of, I don't know what I'm doing here, which is really just a statement of the question of, how did I get here? Not a really pleasant place to be, right? But there is hope, because I don't know what I'm doing here isn't the finish line. It's not the closing credits. It's our starting point. I don't know what I'm doing here, but that means you still have somewhere to go. Just like that last scene where in that moment, Eddie first turns away from Jamie of, I can't look at you, I can't touch you, I can't believe that was my son, to embracing him. He's saying, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm going to love my son. And so I want to go back to that quote from Alan Arnold. I'm not sure it's from Alan Arnold, but he uses it an awful lot. And he talks about religion, says, I messed up, my dad's going to kill me. How many times our kids feel that way about us as fathers? We felt that way about our dads, and even more, we felt that way about God. I can't tell God about this. He's going to kill me. He's up there waiting to punish me. That other shoe's going to drop. Stuff's going to happen, right? Because I messed up. But the flip side is relationship. And the true power of the gospel is I messed up. I need to call my dad. And that freedom that we get, the comfort that we get from crying out to Papa, of saying, I messed up. I don't know what I'm doing here. And he takes us, as Jesus says, like as a hen gathers her chicks under their wings, I'll gather you up. I'll comfort you. I'll show you where to go. And every kid, every son, every father, everyone lives in those things of, I messed up. My dad's going to kill me. Or I messed up. I need to call my dad. And how can we cultivate that second response in our children of when those moments happen? When they turn up pregnant, when they get drunk, when they get a ticket, when they get in a wreck, when the worst news you could possibly imagine happens, how can we create that environment and that relationship where their first response is to call us? So before the next episode drops in a couple weeks, got some to-dos. First, download our study guide. You can go to menatthemovies.com/podcast. Look for this episode. There's a link to the study guide in there. There's going to be a link in the show notes. So if you're watching this on YouTube or listening on your podcast, there's a link there to the study guide. It's got some key themes, some discussion questions to take you deeper than you want to go, but also some action items to what can I do to start moving forward with this? How can I say, okay, this is, if we consider this a mirror, how can I look in the mirror? I see I've got stuff in my teeth. I don't just leave and say, well, there's stuff in my teeth. My hair's a mess. I say, okay, I need to fix that. I need to go floss my teeth. I need to go brush my hair. I need to do something. How can I, once we look in the mirror, what do we need to do next? And that's what the action items help us do, is to say, okay, I don't like where I am. How can I move forward with the stuff that I've learned? And there's no pressure. There may be 3, 4, 5 of these things, questions and action items. Just pick one. Just pick one to do and go from there and see how it goes. Second, go check out Simon's Ram podcast. It's available wherever podcasts are available, especially Spotify, Apple. Again, there'll be links wherever you're watching or listening to this. There's a link in the notes. Go check them out. And third, and this is probably most important, because the first one was like, hey, check out this thing I did. The other is check out this thing Simon's doing. But the most important thing is, what do you need to do now? How can I change my world? And that's simple. Have a conversation with your kids. Our focus here is on sons, but if you've got daughters, do that as well, especially daughters going through adolescence. They are at least, if not more, screwed up and messed up and feeling, I don't know what I'm doing here, as the boys are. Don't make it epic. Don't make it formal. Don't come in with this agenda and these questions. Just say, hey, let's go get chips. Maybe a milkshake. Maybe both. And just say, hey, how are you doing? I've had enough conversations with my boys over the years that they know when I say, how are you doing? I'm not asking them for an outline of what they've been up to. I'm saying, how's your heart? How are you doing? And that is ingrained over the years. So have that time and just listen. Don't try to fix. Don't try to correct. Definitely don't get defensive and reactionary. Just listen and be there and create a safe place so that when he messes up, you're the one he calls. And so our next episode, we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to dive a little bit more, as I mentioned earlier. This challenge that many critics have is you told this story that feels really desolate, really hopeless, and there's no solution. There's no fix. There's no, what do we do now? Well, as Christians, we have that hope. We know that we have a faith. We know that as when I was going through some stuff with my kids, God told me 2 things. I love her more than you do. And we know that God loves our kids more than we do. And he's using this, whatever situation they're going through, to create the person, man or woman, that he created them to be. He's using that situation to shape them into that man or woman that he created them to be. And that's where our hope is. And we're going to talk more about that in our next episode. So this has been Paul McDonald and Simon Groschel talking about adolescence. I don't know. I'm not sure how well you can enjoy an episode like this, but I hope you did. Hope you got something out of it. And I hope you join us next time here on the Men at the Movies podcast.
Something inside has been awakened. I can no longer be who I was before. But if I am no longer who I was, who am I to be?